Welcome back. And here we have,
Eli Sabat.
I'm glad you guys
and he's running for prosecutor for Washtenaw County.
I'm running unopposed in the November election. So
And we'd like to see him win. So if you, the voter, can't get out and vote, you've already heard me say it before. Those absentee ballots that are coming in the mail, fill them out, turn them in right away so that you can have Eli sitting right here waiting to help you. Eli, is there anything that you'd like to add for the voters?
I would just echo that. My candidacy is really about enacting systemic criminal justice reform, ending the school to prison pipeline, turning the page on the era of mass incarceration, promoting rehabilitation and treatment over punishment in our justice system. But it's going to take all of us, and this is an incredibly important election. It starts from the school board on up. We need to elect good progressive candidates like the ones we have here to Ann Arbor School Board if we're serious about ending the school to prison pipeline. We need to get out and make sure that Democrats take back the state legislature. We need to keep Gary Peters in the Senate, and of course we need to vote Trump out of office and get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. So this election is as important as any in our lifetime, and I hope everybody just votes, votes, votes.
Now, Eli, you know what I'd like to ask you?
Sure.
In some of the history of what I saw in terms of young men seeming to sometimes get lost in the system, and in that a lot of resources don't exist for them. Can you tell me, in joining with the sheriff's office and the various criminal justice departments within the county, and sometimes maybe being an example, when they have losses such as parents, not enough support to kind of link them to the support systems, sometimes they're embarrassed because of what they've done. What things do you think that you could do to help overshadow that lack and that gap, and that could lead them into some form of recovering process where people embrace them more than they push them away, and then they end up in the system?
Well, I think you put your finger on it. It should be about recovery and rehabilitation. And when people come through the criminal justice system, a lot of times it is because of trauma. It is because things are going on in their lives. Maybe they're dealing with mental illness. Maybe they've got a family member that is. Maybe they're dealing with substance use. And what we've done historically is we've had a punishment first mentality, and we've just taking people to jail, send them to prison, saddle them with a criminal record. And that's not just, in my mind, cruel, it's counterproductive, because then we see the same people coming through the justice system over and over again because we didn't address the root cause of what was bringing them in there in the first place. My priority is to change that. I don't want to use the justice system as the answer to everything. And when somebody comes in front of us and they don't pose a threat to the community, what I am going to prioritize is getting them help, getting them treatment, addressing that root cause, whether it's substance use or mental health issue, or simply something like poverty or trauma or housing insecurity. And we're going to work with our community partners to deflect and divert them out of the justice system rather than just taking a punishment first approach. But this is like I said, we need all hands on deck here. What I can promise to do as a prosecutor is not take that punishment first approach, decline to prosecute, divert cases, deflect cases out. We also need to come together as a community and work together to make sure that we have the resources in place, frankly, even well before somebody comes into the criminal justice system, so that we can address that and we can get people back on the right track.
Okay. Now, Eli, what I want to add also, and even ask, if you would be willing to talk to some of the community developers, because a lot of times these young men, it's not necessarily that they have mental health issues. It may be the burdensome of problems that they're embarrassed about within the home. And sometimes it's often that they have nothing to do. And so in nothing to do, an idle mind is usually the devil's workshop. What can you do, or what do you think you would be able to do to implement courses, plans, coding classes, support scholarships, and maybe even sometimes just talk to some of these young men before the trouble hits and say, hey, what is it that you'd like to do, and what kind of program, building programs, because I don't see a lot of those around for the young men in the low-income communities. They're often overlooked, And in their being overlooked, they often become angry and they're resentful. And then when they encounter law enforcement, or maybe someone like yourself, as when you're going to be the prosecutor, they form a resentment that makes them feel displaced and pushed out of the community. What do you think you can do about that?
So there's no question about that. And let me tell you, I actually started my career as an 8th grade U.S. history teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that the most important thing for a young person, frankly, is to have opportunities to be connected to mentors that they're going to connect with in a real and authentic way, doing something that they're passionate about. That's really the best crime prevention metric or mechanism that we can put into place.
And totally, I agree.
And so what I'm looking at doing, especially with the juvenile system, kid comes in, kid makes a mistake. Historically, what we've done is we've taken a punishment first mentality. Send them to the juvenile detention center, put them on probation, put the criminal justice system's hooks into that kid, which can be hard to shake off. What I am in the process of doing with my transition team and our working groups and community partners is looking at building up programs outside of the justice system. It's not going to be the prosecutor's office that runs it,
okay,
but we'll partner with organizations like, for example, My Brother's Keeper or the Neutral Zone or the schools, and say, look, as part of what we're asking you to do as a justice system, go to school, right? Stay out of trouble, but also here's a mentor that may share your passion for art or for music or for sports or for theater or whatever it is for that kid. And we're going to ask you to go to this program after school, right?
Okay.
This is what you're going to be doing after school. If you do all that, the charge will just go away.
Okay.
And you're not going to have the stigma of a criminal record follow you around for years and years. So these are the programs we're looking to build up. Like I say again, it takes all of us. I've got the lever to say we can deflect those out of the justice system, but I'm really looking forward to working with so many amazing community partners that we have here to build up systems that can take care of young people and to provide them the opportunities that you refer to in a way that can be really rehabilitative, restorative, and ultimately make us safer and get folks on the right track.
Now, I do want to add this. I'm going to close the interview out because I know we got other people waiting. But I've also worked with a Community Move, and that's run by Charles Peterson. And he's in the process of getting that organization registered through the nonprofit agency. He's already been operated and helped a lot of young men see themselves in a more positive light, and even gone on to, as well as myself, because I worked with them, graduate from college, come back and see us and let us see how they've turned out. So we'll be the next organization knocking on your door, and is it possible that we could see you and say, after you're voted in, excuse me, can we talk for a minute and see what we could do together, and through our organization as well as your other partners, to get the ball rolling for other kids coming through, because we've seen some successes, and we'd like to be able to knock on your door. If we vote for you, could that be possible?
Yes, 100%, and you don't even have to
say when you win.
Yep, 100%, and you don't even have to wait till after November. We've already started putting together transition working groups and starting to think about how we build up precisely these types of partnerships.
Okay.
So if anybody is interested in joining those, if anybody has expertise to give or experience in the area, just email me. I'll give out my personal email. It's eli@eli2020.com. So eli@eli2020.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get you looped in with some of these working groups, and we'll work together to build a county that we can really be proud of.
Eli, I am so excited. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk.
Likewise.
And as I read some of the postcards that come through the mail about you, everything stands true. And I really am grateful and appreciative that you're so open and you're welcoming to this process. We really need it, and we're going to be glad for these future community advocates, these future community people that are going to be living here, that are going to be going forward to make sure that these things stay in place, and that we have great paying taxpayers that are going to care about community and not feel that they're not a part of it.
Right. Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your interview.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
we'll
for having
be
me.
seeing you soon.
All
You
right.
want an elbow?
Yeah, you can do
There
that.
you go.
All right. Thanks for having me.